Never thought I'd say this, but the Bengals quarterback situation is getting interesting. Hear me out, this isn't a panic move, it's a conversation worth having. Joe Burrow's health is the heartbeat of this team, yet the season keeps moving and the AFC North is wide open. Cincinnati already sits at 2-0 in the division, while the Ravens and Steelers hover at 1-1 and the Browns are still chasing their first win. That's a golden opportunity if the Bengals stay aggressive. Before we dive deeper into the latest Bengals buzz, hit that subscribe button, drop a like, and tap the bell icon so you never miss breaking Cincinnati updates and in-depth analysis. Now, back to the big question. If Burrow's status stays uncertain, should the Bengals explore a proven veteran, someone who can steady the ship without blowing up the future? Options around the league are thin, but Cincinnati's front office has never shied away from bold conversations. Backup Jake Browning has shown flashes of poise, and there's a real debate inside the locker room and among fans about trusting his upside versus adding outside experience. Whatever direction the Bengals choose, every decision from here shapes a season that still screams playoff potential. Bottom line, Cincinnati controls its own destiny. Whether it's sticking with Browning or making a smart, low-risk move for depth, this is a team built to fight for January football, if they stay sharp and healthy. Here's the hard truth. The free agent quarterback shelf is almost empty. Scroll through the names and it's a reminder of how tough midseason shopping really is. Cincinnati fans don't need another stopgap like Jeff Driscoll or a practice squad project. Players such as Jake Fromm or C.J. Beathard simply don't move the needle for a team built to win now. When the goal is a deep playoff run, you can't settle for someone who only keeps the huddle warm. Look around the league and the picture stays the same. Some veterans, Marcus Mariota, Zach Wilson, Tyrod Taylor, even journeymen like Case Keenum, might technically be available, but none truly upgrade what the Bengals already have in Jake Browning. And divisional rivals aren't about to hand over their starters anyway. That's why a proven veteran like Kirk Cousins naturally grabs the conversation. He isn't perfect. Turnovers and a hefty contract are real concerns, but compared to the thin free agent pool, he represents competence and experience. When you're evaluating every option to protect a playoff chase, competence suddenly looks pretty valuable. This is where Cincinnati's front office faces a classic high-stakes decision. Do they ride with Browning and trust the system around him, or explore a calculated move for a quarterback who can keep the offense balanced if Burrow's health lingers as a question? The reality is simple. The Bengals control a winnable division, and every roster choice from here could decide whether January football runs through Cincinnati or slips away. Given the way this season is unfolding, the idea of bringing in a veteran quarterback isn't flashy, but it's far from the worst option. No one's pretending that Kirk Cousins is a long-term savior, yet in the current market his name carries the kind of stability Cincinnati might need. Think about the situation. Joe Burrow's health is everything. The Bengals are eyeing a playoff run, but the schedule isn't waiting. 12 more games with only Jake Browning as insurance could put enormous pressure on the roster. Browning showed a spark in one late drive last week, but over 4 quarters the offense often stalled, and that can't become a weekly pattern in the AFC North. Cousins isn't perfect. Turnovers are part of his history, but he's an experienced starter who can manage a game, push the ball downfield, and keep star weapons like Ja'Marr Chase and T. Higgins involved. Compared with the sparse free agent list or a mid-season gamble on a practice squad player, that level of competence suddenly feels valuable. Cincinnati's front office has to weigh risk versus reward. A short-term move for a proven passer could protect the team's playoff hopes without derailing the future. Staying put with Browning means betting everything on rapid growth from a quarterback who's still finding his rhythm. Bottom line, if Burrow's status remains uncertain, the Bengals can't afford to stand still. In a division that's there for the taking, a steady veteran presence, while not a headline-grabbing splash, might be exactly what keeps the season alive deep into January. It's been a long, tense day in Cincinnati, and everything now hinges on one key question: how serious is Joe Burrow's injury? The hope is simple: no surgery, no major setback, so the Bengals can keep their season on track. The medical evaluations coming tomorrow will guide every next step, but until those results arrive, the locker room and fan base share the same cautious optimism. While the Bengals wait, it's worth looking at the immediate schedule. Minnesota is up next, and early season film shows a Vikings squad that isn't firing on all cylinders. They struggled against the Bears in Week 1 and looked just as uneven against the Falcons. If Cincinnati plays clean, physical football, there's a real opportunity to open the year 3-0, a start that would strengthen their grip on the AFC North and give Burrow valuable recovery time. A perfect start doesn't guarantee a playoff run, of course, but it does create breathing room. A 3-game cushion allows the coaching staff to manage snaps, adapt the game plan, and avoid desperation moves while the franchise quarterback heals. The message is clear: stay patient, stay focused, and let the next medical update shape the path forward. With a defense that's tightening each week and an offense still loaded with weapons, the Bengals can keep winning and keep the season alive while their leader gets healthy. Bengals fans, buckle up, this could be a long ride. If Joe Burrow misses extended time, Cincinnati may have to lean on Jake Browning for the bulk of the season. And that reality brings both hope and heartburn. Browning showed grit in the latest win, and credit where it's due. He made enough plays to get the Bengals across the finish line. But 3 interceptions in the same game revealed the double-edged sword. One drive he looks fearless, hitting receivers in stride. The next he forces throws that leave you holding your breath. It's the kind of high-variance performance that can thrill and frustrate in the same quarter. Fans can't help but draw comparisons to quarterbacks like Jameis Winston, talented enough to light up a scoreboard, risky enough to keep defensive backs busy all afternoon. That's the Jake Browning experience. Moments of brilliance wrapped in a layer of unpredictability. The coaching staff now faces a critical challenge: how to harness Browning's aggressiveness while protecting the football. Strong defensive play and a heavy dose of Joe Mixon could help steady the offense. But until Burrow returns, every Sunday might feel like a coin flip. Winning games in the AFC North requires discipline and composure. If Browning can cut down on turnovers and lean on the Bengals' deep receiving core, Cincinnati can stay competitive and keep playoff hopes alive, even through a season that promises more late-night stress than anyone expected.